Hello, my name is Randy. I'm a recovering addict alcoholic. By the grace of God and a huge miracle, I got 21 years clean and sober on August the 28th, 2016. It is with great hesitancy, or some hesitancy, that I'm putting this together. There is much debate in my head, and it has been a very rough year, and I will get into that shortly. Let me show you this first. I went through a lot to get this. It took me 28 years. I got into the program in January of '88, and for years after years after years, I couldn't even go 21 days. So it is truly a miracle. Tomorrow is the President of the holiday, and for me, it is just another day because holidays have been pretty well taken away since I've gotten to this program. And let me just say up front, my story isn't normal. Of course, my life hasn't been normal, so the recovery isn't normal. So anyway, it is what it is. My twitches are going crazy, but I will continue anyway. I used to enjoy the holidays, but that was when I had other people to hang out with and was having fun, but that is the rarity nowadays. I don't want to scare out the newcomers, but I also don't want to be lying. The program is based on how we work it, is honesty, openness, and willingness. I'm going to start off with page 164 from the big book and do my interpretation. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. From my perspective, it is more than suggestive. If you don't work the program and work the steps, you will not stay clean and sober, and you will not make it. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. The longer I stay clean and sober, the more aware I am, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. I ask him in my morning meditation what I can do for myself and for others. I read my recovery books and try to help another person in recovery, usually online, during the day. Obviously, you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is a great act for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. One of the best things, or side effects, of not getting the program in January '88 is I had to redo my concept of my higher power, freed myself from religion or legalism, and I'm trusting my higher power, who is Christ, and He's the one that's kept me going. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you shall surely meet somewhere else as you tread the road of happy destiny. I was told by my first sponsor that once you get clean and sober, life will be beautiful. I've since found out otherwise. To say the last 4 years have been the most painful time in my life would be an understatement. I am still in the biggest challenge of my life. Since my dad passed away in front of me in April 2013, it has taken a bigger toll on me than I can envision. I've had two other friends pass away. They knew for 25 years. My longest job has ceased or was phased out in April 2014. It took 2.5 years in court with my attorney to end up on disability. I got 16 medical conditions for there's no cure for. I'm having to go from $2,100 a month down to $915 a month on disability. That is enough stress to get anybody up the wall, but I'm still going. If you've seen the photo of Christ holding the rope of a guy hanging on the side of the cliff, that would perfectly describe my situation. Somehow the rope keeps getting not tied into it, and it ends up keeps getting longer. Right? If I looked at the 5 senses, I would be in the rope of it, but I'm trusting the higher power for a miracle. Very basically, I don't know if anyone has seen the 20-year video I made last year. This is not going to be as long. I started drinking at 10, a really long time ago. It kicked in from the start, and I felt good. Through a series of events, and for fun, at age 13, I started sinking through in pain. Even then, I burned out a few brain cells. Then at age 21, after I had a breakdown, my first breakdown, became an acute alcoholic and was drinking nearly a quart a day. I can honestly say that some of my funnest and happiest, best times were up there partying, getting down, and having fun, but I tell all the youngsters there will come a day they'll have to cash in for being life in the best thing. And probably some of my problems medically now and mentally is due to the drugs and alcohol, and some are still unexplainable. At age 27, in March of 79, I left the frying pan into the fire. The guy at the restaurant turned me on to marijuana. I had no way of knowing where that first joint was going to lead, but for the next 15 years, it was either weed, uppers, downers, nerve pills, LSD, eventually crack cocaine, anything to get me out of reality and to get me in the comfort zone. Well, I thought it was a comfort zone. At some point, the addiction ceases to be fun, and you'll pass an invisible line to where you have to have it, and you'll do whatever it takes to get it. Became homeless for the second time in November of 87, and spent 6.5 months on the street. It was at this point that I first got into the program. I've been in 3 drug rehab centers from 88 to 90, and an overdose, and that was, looking back, it was divine intervention. It took me 7 years to get my first year sober, because the pain and reality got to be too much, and I would just say, forget it. And if all this that's going on now, or had been going on for the last 3 years, had been happening 15 to 20 years ago, there's a very good chance I would not be here, or I would not be clean sober. But I've been doing this long enough to know what steps to take and what I need to do. Let me see. I'm going to cover the steps real quick, and then the promises, and then do the wrap up. 1. We admitted we had powers over alcohol, and our lives become unmanageable. The reason it took me 7 years because I did not want to admit that I was an addict alcoholic. I worked for 15 years daily. My parents never knew, or they were in total denial. and they were shocked when they came to visit me at the Calabasas Hospital in July of '88 after I'd taken 12 bits of LSD in 2 weeks. Yeah. I always thought the alcoholic addict was the bum on the street with the bag of wine or whatever, and I come to find out that alcoholism covers every age, factor, status. It doesn't matter which you're for or anything. Right now, the most biggest problem is the legalized medication that the doctors for passing out like it's candy, and it's killing people every day. So I had to write down, admit that I was powerless, and I finally realized that I was. So one thing that's helped me, which may sound a bit crazy, but through all this pain, I just said there's not enough alcohol out there to kill the pain, and there's not. It won't bring my dad back or the other 3 people. It's not going to be able to help me get back to work or make things any steadier. It just makes things worse. 2, came to believe that power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. Excuse me. Again, if I just looked at what I saw and what I'm going through right now, in black and white, I am in danger zone. So I have to trust my higher power that I will get through this without having my day break down or losing my sobriety or my life. He's the one holding on the rope so I don't fall over the side of the cliff. Every morning I have to make a decision to turn my will and my life over to care of God as understanding. I made a search in the field this more inventory. The first one was at a recovery convention way back in '89, and it was fun covering the sexual inventory considering I was also a sex addict. That's another story. That's it. I was under control at my age anyway. Entirely to God remove all the defects of character. It's a long process. I had to make a list of all the persons I had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. I had to forgive my parents because they did the best that they could do, or my family. Forgive the 3 guys that molested me. Forgive the bullies who bullied me in school. I think called every name in the book. And I'm still called every name in the book sometimes online, but I just ignore it. I have made direct amends to most people that I could. Try to take personal inventory, see where I'm at, emotionally, mentally, physically. In my morning meditation, I've been learning mindfulness as another tool for recovery. It's nothing religious, it's just trying to get centered and seeking God and see what His direction will be. So 11 softly prayer and meditation to prove a conscious contact with God as we understand Him. Praying only for knowledge of His will for us and power to carry that out. Since the 4th deaths and my job ended, 90% of what's gone on has been a guessing game. I picture myself in this maze and praying that the next turn is the one that will get me out of the maze. Or in a big storm, that somewhere down the road I will see the rainbow or the sun again. 12. Haven't had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. We try to carry this message to alcoholics and practice these principles in all our affairs. I am working with others online, mostly on Hangouts and occasionally in person, but I rarely get to see anyone as it is, so I can only keep it if I give it away. That's one purpose for the video. And I am looking for my own support system. I'll get to very shortly. The 12 promises, some have come true, some have changed since I've been doing this for 28 years. One, we're going to know new freedom and new happiness. In some ways, it has come true. In other ways, it hasn't. I deal with anxiety, depression, massive insomnia, grief, anxiety, and my stress level is through the roof, but I still am not drinking or using. We will not regret the past and wish to shut the door on it. Again, my story of my life has not been normal. If you watch my 20-year video, you'll understand how. By the way, I've also written all this out in more detail. If anyone's interested, I could send it by email. Again, my story and my recovery is far from normal, but anyway, it takes what it takes. You'll comprehend the word serenity. That's still in process. It was a lot more serene before all this went down 3 or 4 years ago. No matter how far down the scale we've gone, we'll see how our experience can help others. I'm hoping in some way this will help, because there's really no words that I can have to express how much pain I've been in and how much I am in. So man, if I can do this, I know a way out. I can just quit taking my meds or just fill my sobriety, but I know that will get me nowhere. Every day I can decide I can either die with this disease or from it. So I'm really hoping this will help others who are dealing with recovery and in a shaky situation. 6, the feeling of hopelessness, self-pity will disappear. I know I can make a difference. Hopefully I can with this as well. And others have thanked me for their help, for my help, excuse me. 7, we lose interest in selfless things and gain insights in their fellows. On top of my being in recovery, I'm also an activist and ancient hippie. And the longer I stay sober, the more aware I am of the world, and the more I have to say something and stand up against the injustices. That's not AA, but that's me. Self-seeking, we slip away. Well, my future in life is still in jeopardy, so I have to do what I gotta do so I keep it together. My whole attitude and outlook on life will change. That comes and goes, depends what mental state I'm in. And again, I have to look beyond the 5 senses. 10, for people in economic security leaders. I'm still working on that. One thing my dad had that I wish I had, he could go up to virtually anyone and become friends with them. And he was never alone. I've been here in Phoenix for 22 years, and I still don't feel at home. And I'm still 95% of the time alone. Trying to find a support system here online and in person. My economic insecurity changed after having 50 jobs in 18 years, and suddenly it came to a stop. My counselor I just lost said part of the grief process you're going through now is realizing that despite spending 15 years trying to get back to work, you can't now, so I just asked you the grief. 11 and 12 is totally right on, and that's what kept me going. 11. We will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. My other half doesn't really understand what's going on, how big a blow all this is taking on me for the last 4 years, and the situation I'm now. God is somehow keeping me going, and I know that doing the geographic or running away or getting noted is not going to solve anything, and so I just trust God that I will get through. 12, we will suddenly realize that God is doing for us we cannot do for ourselves. Left to my own devices, I probably would not be here, would not be sober. I would have left those on a long time ago, and I would not be making this video. Higher power can be anything or anyone, and my choice is God, is Christ, but let's grow in yourself. In my own power, it will not and cannot happen. So on page 30 of the big book again, the idea that somehow, someday, we will be able to control our drinking and using is a great obsession of every abnormal drinker. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. I cannot tell you how many I've lost due to drugs and alcohol. Just because I have 21 years doesn't mean I'm totally safe, because I've known people who have gone out a lot longer time than I have, and they're not here anymore. If I chose not to work the program, I could be back out there and I would not be on the planet for much longer. So I have to work the program and work the steps on a daily basis. I'm trying to find a local support system here in Phoenix. I am trying to cut back on the internet and the machine. Prior to my coming here in '94 due to the quake, I had others to hang out with. I used to call, and I actually enjoyed the holidays, but for some odd reason, Phoenix and I are not judging, but there has to be a way. And in the end, since my dad passed and all this going on, I cried a huge rushing river, and it's only by God's grace I haven't drowned. And if I could stay sober through all this and not take myself into a paddy sale or end up with dirt face down, I have to give all the thanks and glory to God and trust that's because I'm not doing this. I am determined somehow, some way to get to my meetings. I do not drive. My medical condition makes it very hard for me to get out. And with my trying to sell 700 things, a full-time job, I have less time now since the job ended because I have my future in jeopardy, so you would think it'd be the other way around. Anyway, God is doing for me what I cannot do for myself. I hope this video made sense. Lastly, I was seeing a counselor, and that ended due to the fact that my medical insurance changed and I'm on disability, so I am now looking for a counselor or a sponsor or somebody I can talk to on a regular basis or hang out with. Trying to get to meetings when I can figure out how to get there on the bus and get back and still have time to do everything else I need to do. In closing, I have 4 medical conditions, no cure for, so my time on this planet is limited, and I'm hoping that somehow, some way, this video will help others who are in the program. The newcomers, feel free to ask me any questions, and all thanks to God for the miracle. And I have to choose every day to turn my life over to God, trust Him for the biggest miracle of my life, and accept that my other half is never going to understand what's going on, and it is what it is. So only another alcoholic can understand a person in recovery. With that, I will close, and I will thank my higher power for giving me another day. And God bless. God is doing for me what I cannot do for myself.